So I'm working on the fender now. So I have the running board on and I put a level on it to see where it is in comparison to the frame. And the frame is level, it's level, maybe slight high to the front, where the running boards are opposite. They're actually a little more than slight high to the rear. But that's okay. I just needed to know where they're at. So here are my studs that I was using for my fenders. I'm going to lower the fender an inch. Although these studs are where the factory was, I want them down a little bit. So I drilled a hole, or I marked a hole 1 inch down. I put the fender on here to see where it sits and where it sits on here. The slot was right at the edge of the slot. So I moved the hole over just a little bit, so the bolt should be in the middle of the slot now here. So when you do all this, then I'm going to have to make sure that the front fits right. But I'm not there. I'm working on this. So now I'm going to do is just going to cut these all off. I drilled a hole and then I tapped it to the 5/16, you know. And I'm gonna run the bolt through the other way as a stud, and so I can just slide that fender on and off of it. Just make it a lot easier. Then I can orientate it this way, how I want it, and I can line it where I want it here. Might have to do some trimming on the fender, and we'll go from there. So here's the new studs. I put this one in first. This is the one that's in the basically the center highest point of the fender. I dropped it down 1 inch, and then I moved it over just a little bit so it'd be in the more of the center of the slot. Hung the fender. I marked these guys here. So as you can see, like this one isn't straight down. It's got to come over a little more. I mean, it's just over a little less, over a little less, you see. And then here's my other one I haven't drilled yet. Then I'm going to put in a thread there and there. But that is that. I'll show you what the fender looks like on. Okay, there it is. Doesn't look real bad here, but I don't have the bottom one in. So when you pull that in, it really changes that. It's not terribly low, which I didn't expect because for some reason it seemed high. But see, like right there, it looks okay. It's not, it's gapped too far here, so it's got to get pulled in. And all this is going to be, all the running boards are going to be different. So wherever I put this fender, the running board is going to come to it. And what I mean is I'll be creating it to the fender in the right spot. So, because right now when you pull this in, it's twisting the fender a little bit here. It's dragging right back here. So it's not able to breathe forward just a bit. And it kind of twists everything out. So, but that's where that fender's gonna be. I marked the other holes. I can put the nutserts in there, and I can put some bolts in there. And then as what I gotta do is on the frame machine, I gotta move this caster either forward or backward to make clearance for the wheel that I gotta put in. So then the wheel will be put in there, and then the axle will be adjusted forward and backward to center the wheel in the opening. A lot of these old trucks, the wheel seems a little forward, so I want to make sure it's centered. And that's where I'm at. Getting ready to split the fender. Again, I will be taking that all off, but I marked it where I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it on this side of the line. also drew a line there and I followed it. So in case this tape comes off, I actually have a line also. One thing to note on this particular fender is it's flat here, and that's where you want to make your addition, and then it kind of curves down just past there. But up here, the whole thing is crowned, see? So it's not like a 50s style fender where they're more flat and then they contour in, and you can just cut them, you know, close to the edge and add your however much you want to add. This is crowned, so I have to, when I make the pieces, I'm probably going to make shorter pieces, I guess, right now. Let's see how it feels, and crown them as I go to match the flow here. It's more flat here also. So it's just really this top part. This actually kind of comes up and down like that. So I'm going to be cutting that off, and then I'll probably be removing all this stuff, but then I'll be placing the tire on to see how wide I actually have to make that. There it is. My poor fender is cut. I started up here and I cut down here like this, and then I clamped it. And then I came back up over here and I started cutting up here and I clamped it, and then I cut the rest of the way. So that's what we got. And I'm a little off right there. But like I said, I'll be probably making short patches to make this all come in. So there we go. I'm going to fit the tire on. I'm going to see how much wider I actually got to make this thing. Okay, there's the tire mounted. Now I got to put the other fender half on. If you notice though, this tire moves up and down like this. There's no gear carrier in this, so there's nothing to stabilize the axle on the inside. So it moves, I'll show you, it moves that much. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's how much it moves. So it's probably split right in the middle somewhere, right? So if I let it hang out like it is, put my fender on with a little less clearance than I really want, by the time I get this in there, it'll push in just a little bit and it'll be probably perfect. So that is that. I'm going to try to figure out how to put this on with the tire so I know where I'm at. Kind of just did a preliminary, I put these little straps in here all along, and except in the very front, I didn't worry about it. And then I just kind of pulled it straight so the face is straight, and then there's the tire and the width. So I've got to widen it. You know, I've got to widen it this much all the way. And what I'll do is I'll measure, I'll measure throughout the whole thing, get the measurement I actually want, and that's how wide it'll be. So this might come out just a little, you know, like that. But all in all, that's what I'm doing now. These straps are just temporary. That's just to hold it in position. I mean, I'm not going to weld it there because I don't want the straps inside the fender. I'm going to try to keep things all here. I'm going to try. I might do something different. We'll see. But I'm not going to have all this extra strapping in it. I'm going to do something, keep it kind of nicer so the inside of the fender looks good too. Even though nobody will see it, but you could probably peek your head underneath here and look up, you know, and I don't want to see that it's got all these weird things going on. So anyway, this wheel will come in like that and give me plenty of room, but that I got to take into consideration for the brakes. So I got to add that into here too. And so right now I can get, I can get my whole finger in there without even touching anything. So it's pretty good. And it'll come down 2.5 inches. The suspension will come down 2.5 inches. So this has got to clear the bulge of the tire, because that's the size tire. That's the size I'm going to be running. It looks pretty big on there, but it's kind of what I want. I want a little muscly look out here, but it'll still resemble original, and that's my whole idea. Finishing up on the fender here. As you can see, I've widened it 2 inches. Is what I did here is I had some sheet metal, and I went down to a metal fab place and just had them cut a bunch of strips into 2 inches, because that's how wide it was going to be. And then I put them in. Now when I cut this, it wasn't exactly perfectly straight, so I did the best I could do, what I had, but that's not why I have them in different strips. I actually have them in different strips because you can't really take one piece and go all the way over and expect it to work right with the fender, being that there's a contour and everything in there. So that's why it's in pieces. I just did little strips. I had to fix some damage here. It still needs to be welded. Probably gonna weld some of it from the back side. Grind it off, because I didn't do make sure it still has some holes in it. Anyway, all the way through here and then all the way down here. This isn't exactly perfect from transition wise. This piece has all kinds of holes in it that I got to replace. There's some through here. This fender is really in bad shape. As you can see, I mean, there's all these dents and dings and stuff. So, but anyway, then this is going to kind of contour up. It needs a little bit of fill right through there. I think the camera kind of distorts it a little bit, but yeah, more dents that I got to kind of pound out. I'm going to pound them out as best I can. This whole fender will get skimmed to be straightened. That'll fine tune my contour here. I actually put a kind of a contour in the middle of this to help raise this as a curve. I did that on the planching hammer, did that all the way down, and then just kind of faded it out on both sides. It's kind of just fading out into flat where it was flat. That way that's not just a flat piece. This fender had a curve to it. So, but that's the fender. That's where I'm at. That'll probably be it for this video. I have to finish doing the welding and do the other side. All right, that's it.